Sorry there, but I've actually had some problems online. I had battery problem. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is basically just gonna be about some issues concerning the LGBT community. Me personally, my sexuality, I never had any of those issues really at all. Everything that I've ever felt sexually, I've always been, yeah, that's me and that's right, kind of like thing. And, honestly, it's like a lot of the time people always are uncomfortable with it because it's everything against everything people think I should feel, I guess. There's so many different ways people think a person can feel sexually that's acceptable, but, if you're out of those parameters, then you become misunderstood, basically. At best, I mean. Well, there's way worse it could be. But I'm not talking about people like anyway. So for me, I was always judged on different levels. One, I always had my issue with being attracted to men. Because it was always like people like me, usually like girls. And that's the assumption, that you like girls if you're like me. And for me, gender identity never had anything to do with sexuality. Really not supposed to, because everybody knows this. Sexuality and gender, they're not in common, They're just two separate entities. So, now, my perception on gender is, and has always been, that gender doesn't really exist. And this pisses off both sides. You know, people always try to act like on the conservative side, religious side, there's these gender things that people believe in. And you have to be appropriate to this one or that one according to the sex you were born. Now, that's the social expectation, that's the social construct. It's the imaginary friend that everybody pretended was real in society. That's what gender is, in my opinion. It's not real. Now, the thing is, on the liberal side of it, and on the transgender pushing side of it, all they ever do is push how they need to fit into this construct and that this imaginary gender thing actually exists. And according to those rules, those imaginary rules, basically, they have to transition into the other sex to appease the social construct of society, which was already invisible and imaginary in the first place. It wasn't real to begin with, you know. That's why, for me, from my point of view, I've always been questioning and always not just questioning, but always like in a state of like, well, you can't convince me something exists that I can't touch and can't see, and it's just a matter of rules inside your head kind of situation. So, you know, some things about gender I don't really align with existing, and therefore I don't really fall into those categories of like, being a feminine woman or femininity or masculinity. You can see that this is why my sexuality is the way it is, because I don't believe in gender. Excuse me. Honestly, I believe in sex, but I don't really believe in gender, and I never did. Like, gender has never really existed to me. Gender is just cultural, and cultural gender roles basically change from country to country. So, how is this thing real, this imaginary gender role situation real, when it changes depending on what country you're in? You know, like in some countries, you can see the men wearing dresses. In some countries, you can see that men don't wear dresses. You can see in some countries, women wear pants. Some other countries, women wear dresses. This is just one example, but in society, there's so many different roles and different things that are acceptable for one gender to do as opposed to another gender. That doesn't mean that that is somehow a social construct of male and female. I don't think it is. I think it's just what is expected of the two genders, well, the two sexes. Uh, and when people don't fit into those categories, therefore they try to fit themselves into it because society tells them they have to. Now, personally, for me, like with certain issues on being transgender, I have always aligned with when it comes to physical sides of it. Like, that's why for me, it's not like just social. But the thing is, to me, as a lot of transgender people, is confusing to me because it's like, just because you made someone think that you had $1 million, for example, doesn't mean you really have $1 million. And, for me personally, I never wanted to make others believe I was man because I never understood what that did for me. The gender side of it would help if I really associated that with being a man. But you have to understand, from my point of view, I don't associate the male gender with the male sex. And that's why I'm basically giving you this example of everything before I get into the other part of it. So basically, with my sexuality growing up, I always had my insecurity, obviously, with being attracted to men because I wasn't like a lot of people who are born female but identify as male or have leanings towards that of that nature, transmasculine. Um, Most of the time, it's expected that they like women, and so when you like men, and when you don't identify as straight, there are reasons for that, obviously, and I don't really like to admit what is it if it's not straight, you know what I mean? You can do the logic of what I'm saying, but anyway, but when you're in that position, you know kind of what you are deep down, it makes you want to, hide. But that's what I generally did, as I've said in the past, is, just live as a woman, and I still live as a woman right now, and, things could, I make do with my situation. But, a major thing for me that made me so insecure and uncomfortable with my sexuality was, like I said, the response of other people. That part of my sexuality made people very uncomfortable with the fact that I was attracted to men and I basically identified as male. But the other part of my sexuality that was really, really, really um, uncomfortable for a lot of other people. And for me, it was never uncomfortable. It's just, yeah, like what? It's just what it is. It's like a natural reaction. And I've talked a little bit about this in my previous video. Somebody kind of had a cow because I was saying how I find don't have I'm attracted to people despite their gender identity. And I've said that before. For me, it's not about, whether you're wearing a dress or pants. Because in reality, from my perspective, it's like if I am only attracted to a man because he's wearing pants, then how attracted am I to him if it's just his pants? Literally, maybe I could just have sex with the pants for all we know. I mean, if I'm really just that turned on by pants. Technically, I mean, like, why can't we just put pants on a woman, I guess? And then you want to do her too. So, I mean, obviously that wouldn't imply, me, like, being attracted to masculinity, for me, is intangible. Because masculinity isn't real, it's imaginary. Just like femininity is not real to me, it's imaginary. And, you know, they're just sets of things that society associates with masculine and feminine. So, how can I build my attraction on something that constantly changes country to country? Like, to me, being attracted to masculinity would be impossible for me because I can't be attracted to something that I can't touch, that I has no rules besides in whatever country it's in, whatever culture it's in. And, I can't see. Masculinity and femininity aren't things you can actually see. They're actually expressions. So, I mean, like, it's how someone acts and behaves and presents themselves. But I mean, how someone presents someone's is not really who they are deep down. Their physical body has nothing to do with how they present themselves. It's like you saying basically, I'm only attracted to people with pink hats or something. Like, I mean, so you mean to tell me if you take a pink hat off a person that I'm no longer attracted to him? It's the same thing here to me. It's like, you know, so you mean to say that just because he's got a dress on and makeup, for example, and he identifies as a woman, that my mind is going to somehow shut off the system in me that makes me attracted to people who are of the male sex? No, it's just what it is. It's going to be there. It's always there. It's not like I make anyone feel uncomfortable about that. I don't even tell transgender people that, yeah, for me, how my sexuality works, whether you transition or not, it's not going to have anything to do with my attraction, basically. Because I'm attracted to people, and so whether they live as men or women, I'm going to be attracted to that person. My attraction's not going to just go away all of a sudden. If that was the case, then basically you're saying that I can control who I'm attracted to. And I know for a fact I cannot control who I'm attracted to. I mean, like, I've had so many times, like when I was younger, I used to be so embarrassed. Seriously. Like one situation, and this is just, cisgender male people, people who identify as men, I think. I don't know, I didn't ask them, but I think they identified as men. But, being attracted to people who, are like heroin heads or completely crazy, like completely, like I don't even know if they can say their whole full name straight. Just crazy like situations. Um, Obviously, if I could control who I was attracted to, I wouldn't even be focused on any transgender person having dysphoria or a problem with me being interested or whatever. I would go straight to the fact that, hey, there are bums, there are addicts, there are crazy people that I am potentially attracted to. And I'm going to focus on trying to not be attracted to them. Okay. Um, that doesn't it's always there. It doesn't matter what the person does, is always going to be there. It's what it is. It's either a yes or a no. And you can change your mind. Obviously, you can choose not to be with a person. Obviously, you can make choices in your life, but you'll still be able to know in your head that that person is someone that you have sexual attraction to. Um, so that's why I'm like saying, like, obviously a transgender person, a trans woman, in my view, yes, she's a woman. I'm gonna call her a she. I'm gonna say she's a woman. I'm gonna treat her like a woman so she doesn't go swinging somewhere and is trying to kill herself because somebody called her he. You know, I don't like being mean to transgender people. I think, well, if you are going to kill yourself because somebody called you a he, then I mean we can at least accommodate you and call you a she. Now, the fact that I am attracted to people who are of the male sex, and that includes trans women, that's not my fault. Like, I have no control over that. I really don't. A lot of people who get mad at me and try and tell me that I need to be attracted to women, cis women, and things like that, women who are born female. And it's like, honestly, you act like I try to be attracted to this or that, like I can turn on attraction buttons in my head or something. Like, I can't control who I'm attracted to, okay? So, obviously, for me, I'm going to back it up a little bit. For me, with women and men, I had a very big shame about being attracted to men in the first place. Because for me, if I was really going down that road of transitioning ever, it would be a lot easier to be with a woman than a man. For several reasons, for my own personal reasons. Heck, let's just be a little bit real here. Um, Honestly, I am attracted to men. I love men's bodies. But at the same time, there are some times when you can get also triggered. You can get triggered for your dysphoria, for example. For me, at least. I get triggered sometimes with my dysphoria because of the difference, and I just find it like if I was with a woman, I wouldn't have that much issue there. But do you think I can actually turn on the attraction button for women? No. Female sex people, well, they're just not my type. They're soft, they're delicate, they're weak. These are the reasons why I don't like them. And then honestly, I don't think they're pretty either. Being completely honest, I don't like looking at female bodies. With clothing on, by the way. Not without them. Without them, it's even worse. With clothing on, yeah, I don't like female bodies. And you can notice that because when I talk about, for example, how beautiful black women are, I never talk about the body. There's a reason for that because I just think, women bodies are icky, really, honestly, as just icky. I don't like them. And so, I mean, like, I can't turn on a button and say, oh, be into women or something. Like, this doesn't work. Me, honestly, sometimes when I'm with a man, for example, me being a woman is icky to me. So, I mean, like, if I can hardly handle the fact that there's a woman having sex with a man, and that woman is me, then how do you think I can handle another woman? Like, that could never happen. Like, yeah. Anyway, I just, like, think, generally, for me, my sexuality, I've always gotten a lot of hate for it. Like, I was on this one website, it was a Discord, and all blew up because I pointed out once I was sexually attracted to trans women, and I usually don't point it out. I usually don't say it, but I think it had to do with something that I had to say it, or I said it for whatever reason. And the people, they just had a cow for days and days and days. It's like, you know, I don't understand. As far as the transgender community, you have issues with people and them being sexually attracted to whatever they're sexually attracted to, or whatever they're not attracted to, because you have some issues with accepting yourself. Now, you can't be upset at other people for their sexuality. I felt that was what the LGBT community was about, and they support the transgender community. You're looking back at the LGBT people and telling them that they can't have their own attraction the way it is, just the same as for me. That's all I have to say on that. I just think, you are trying to have a certain idea on my sexuality simply because it's not what aligns with you personally, and you don't understand it. But it's like a lot of people don't understand you either. A lot of people don't understand your sexuality. A lot of people don't understand your gender identity. So why are you expecting others to accept your gender identity and accept your sexuality, but you can't even accept mine because it's attracted to the wrong people that you think I should be attracted to? That's what homophobes were all about. And now you've turned into your own enemy. It's normal because, honestly, from my point of view, transgender movement and gay movement, like LGBT people, pro LGBT people, have turned straight up into the homophobic agenda, basically. To the point where I'm not saying that you guys agree on issues, but your hate for others on the same basis come from the same place. So that's all I have to say on that. Thanks for listening, and hey.
We make USAA renters insurance for the stuff you love. Because if it's worth lugging up 5 floors, it's worth protecting for as low as 30.
Oh, I didn't see the comment down here. Would you date a guy who dated trans women? I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't either. For me, the way I see it is this. I want a guy who likes what I am. Right now, I'm a biological woman. So, I mean, like, if you like, that would be really triggering for me for other reasons because of how I feel about my own body. So that would be problematic in that way because, like, that's the way I would prefer to have sex with a guy, basically. And the trans woman should do that. And the guy wants that, and I can't give him that, it's going to be really problematic, basically. So, I mean, like, I would not want to be with a guy who could be attracted to trans women, even in that case. And the thing goes for me is mostly for
Emotional side of it, I just don't generally like how men relate to me, but that's a whole different story. As far as trans women, no, and being attracted to trans women, it's not my thing. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. I have another video I'm gonna do, most likely having to do super straights, um, and other different straight identities, straight sexuality, gay sexuality, non-sexuality. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.